Robinson is blocked, and it's all over. Oliver Miller rejects David Robinson, and the Suns have won the Western Conference semifinal 4-2. A stunned ending for the 92-93 season and to NBA basketball at Hemisphere Arena. The Suns hit the shot that the Spurs could not hit. That is the story of this game and the story of this series. Barkley did it when the Suns had to have it.
The Suns sealed the series with a 102-100 victory in Game 6 versus the Spurs. Charles Barkley led the way for Phoenix, not surprisingly, with a 20-20. He had 28 points and 21 boards, while David Robinson had a great game for the Spurs, 22 points and 14 boards. The Suns would ultimately advance to the NBA Finals, but could not get past Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, losing the finals in 6 games. I'm Rick Kamla, and we want to thank you for watching this edition of Hardwood Classics on NBA TV.
At the Palace, and guys, the question is, can the Pistons get hold of the early lead? They have not been able to force the action, and they found themselves playing from behind right from the start.
Well, Marv, I think they would like to see how Cleveland would react if they got down by double digits. That has not happened in 4 games. Look for Detroit to get up the floor and pressure more in the first quarter. They've usually waited until the second half to do that. I think you're going to see more of that to try to force the issue here early in the game.
Yes, in this series, the Pistons have not led by more than 5 points in any game, and the Cavaliers control the opening tip as Hughes is met by Billups. James gets it down low. They usually go to Ilgauskas for the first shot. Zadruna's facing a double and has to throw it out. Shot clock down to 6, and it's last touched by the Pistons.
You know, it's interesting. That play has not worked a single time through 4 games, but I think Mike Brown just feels like I've got to establish Ilgauskas early. I keep waiting for Ilgauskas to go to the counter move, maybe a little fadeaway to the baseline.
And he was met by the double team. Now Ilgauskas with the shot and hits.
That's the shot he's most comfortable with, that little face-up jump shot. I know you have to throw the ball in the post to try to go to work in there, but he makes a very, very high percentage of that jump shot.
Hamilton and Billups in the backcourt. Weber, Wallace, Prince up front. Billups met by James. And here's Billups for Prince. Rebound comes to Weber. Weber with the running hook. And it's handled by Good.
I think Weber needs to get off to a quick start here, guys, because he has not done a whole lot after the first quarter in this series, as LeBron can't get the floater to go. But Weber will not play a whole lot in the second half unless he has a good first quarter.
Prince with the hustle and able to save it. Billups is open for 3. Yes.
You know, the offensive rebounding so favored Cleveland coming into this series. Now all of a sudden it's Detroit that's winning the battle of the offensive boards. That time 2 offensive boards got him a 3-point shot.
Ball made away from the ball against the Pistons. It's on Hamilton.
Nothing a shooter likes more than an offensive rebound, because the defense completely scattered. You oftentimes end up with a wide open look like Billups did there.
Banking his way. See Hamilton coming over to help. Here's the fade. LeBron James hitting that baseline fadeaway.
That's the shot he's grown comfortable with. We've talked about it throughout this series. Fading away, going over that right shoulder, fading left. It seems to be his comfort level.
Weber gets it down low. Here's Wallace, rejected by Ilgauskas. Wallace is fouled. It's on Ilgauskas.
Well, you can see what's happened on that play, that little curl screen that Rip Hamilton runs. They run him into a trap, and what happens now, the other big man, if he'll work underneath the basket, will be able to find some easy openings. So it comes off Weber right there into a trap. And just watch Rip Hamilton on the move, and they're going to soft trap him. Watch how the big man steps out. That means Wallace underneath the basket on the second pass will be open. It's that hockey assist that Flip Saunders just talked about his team has to make.
In game 4 in Cleveland for the first time of the series, Rasheed was not a major factor. 9 points, 5 rebounds. 0 for 3 from beyond that three-point line, plus the technical late in the game. But he's had a strong series, and he has been the Pistons' best all-around player in their postseason run.
And especially the first 2 games here, Marv, he was definitely the MVP. His numbers he put up, how about his defense? 9 block shots in those first 2 games, only 3 total in the 2 games in Cleveland.
Pistons by 1. Good with the lead for Pavlovich, but it was off the mark. Try to toss the lob. Phillips. And threw the foul on Gooden off that change of pace.
You see they're trying to get out and run, maybe trying to get an early bucket in transition, but all that started because Detroit picked up in the backcourt, as you talked about, Doug. They picked up on the previous possession, full court. Cleveland ran that shot clock way down. It ended up in a turnover by Gooden.
Wallace played by Gooden. They clear it out. Shot clock to 5. Rasheed Wallace has given the Pistons a 7-4 lead.
And when you see that one, you say, why don't you do that the whole game? I mean, that's unguardable. Just putting a body on Gooden and then fading away that extension on the jump shot. It's just incredible.
James trying to get it to Ilgauskas as he was met by the double. Hughes with a catch and shoot for 3.
That's gravy right there. I mean, Larry Hughes is gutting this out. I mean, and they need him, I think, to start the game defensively on Billups, and he's really putting in some good minutes at the defensive end. But if he makes a jump shot, that's just gravy there.
The other night, only 16 minutes for Hughes. Got a Novocaine shot in that left foot. Start of the game. Phillips backing in and is fouled by Hughes. Larry Hughes suffering that partial tear of the left foot after taking a fall in the first quarter in game 3.
And what this also does too, Larry Hughes, they're very comfortable with him starting, and rather than throwing Daniel Gibson out on the fire as a starter in this game tonight, this game 5, let him continue in the role that he's playing so well at. You don't want to change up what he's been doing.
Hamilton rebounded by James, tied at 7. Game 5 of this Eastern Conference final series. Hughes again for 3. So Larry Hughes, who was a question mark in terms of playing, in terms of starting, has hit 2 from downtown.
Well, we talked about in the open how important it is for Cleveland to make jump shots, just because it will open up the floor for LeBron. I don't think we expected Hughes to be the one making the perimeter shots, though.
Phillips gets inside.
Great screen that time by Rasheed Wallace. Just sort of came in behind Gooden, and when Chauncey beat his man, there was nobody there to help with the basket.
Good. You know, going back to the Pistons series against the Bulls over the last 8 games, nice pass, Phillips for Weber. The Pistons have not played as you'd expect. They have not been dominant. Perhaps their last good games, game 2 and game 6 against Chicago. But you talk about game 2, that's over 3 weeks ago.
Well, and also too, Marv, I think, you know, look, the first couple rounds, the Detroit guards, as we see a nice drive here by James, and he'll get to the line. But Marv, I think when you look at the first 2 playoff series that Detroit played, Orlando had small guards, and Detroit punished them. Chicago had small guards. That was the difference. You come into this Cleveland game, all of a sudden they're looking at Larry Hughes, Pavlovich. You know, you come in with Eric Snow, he's strong, and I think those bigger guards have bothered Detroit's guards, and that's really the key to their offensive attack.
We did see some signs from Hamilton and Billups in game 4, and you can see the offensive problems. Detroit team that averaged 96 a game during the regular season.
And just to further Doug's point, I mean, one thing Detroit loves to do is get switches on the perimeter and then post up Tayshaun Prince with a guard. So, you know, in that Chicago series, Prince is going against Gordon and Heinrich. You know, against Orlando, it was Jameer Nelson. So now all of a sudden you get the switch, but it's Pavlovich and LeBron James and Larry Hughes, and there's no real size advantage down there for Tayshaun.
Prince backing in. Weber not able to handle it. This time, he tried to convert on a putback, and that lead pass picked off by Prince. He has Hamilton. Detroit with a 1-point lead.
And this is the rule of thumb is anytime you score off a turnover, keep your defense up the floor. Keep the pressure on. You don't want to fall back and let them just get into their offense.
The double again on LeBron. Good. Yes. And he is complaining. He thought he took a hit prior to the shot.
That's his spot. I mean, he's really established that in this series. That little 15, 17-footer right on the baseline.
Just under 6 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Nice pass. And Weber with the finish and the foul.
That's one of those switches that cost Cleveland. They had Pavlovich in the post. Had to get a double team, and it's going to be a foul on LeBron, a possible 3-point play. It's what you do, though. You get the double team, here it comes, and you don't stand. You slice to the basket. A much-needed field goal for Weber is going to have a chance for a 3-point play. And these have been few and far between for Detroit. An easy layup for one of their guards.
Killer crossover, ankle breaker. One of the best in the game.
Describe your dish.
Yes, chef. It's a charred scallop confit.
Everyone makes mistakes. But what if life was as forgiving as the General?
Congratulations.
At the General, we'll cover you, even with a less than perfect driving record.
Go to the General and save some time. Got me hot. Got me hot. Get too high now, shit, come on. I might never come down. I might never come down. Let me get down.
My son needs this drug. I hope it doesn't cost too much. I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be?
$67.
Sorry.
Wait, have you heard about GoodRx? GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
Are you stuck with a low credit score causing you to be denied credit? Then do what Terrence did and go to creditrepair.com.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back.
Knowing that somebody's working for me and fixing my credit and allowing me to still be free to do what I need to do is actually a time saver.
Don't wait. Visit creditrepair.com to see how you can get started with a free credit evaluation and game plan.
Hi there, I'm Robin Meade. You are not alone if you're feeling like there's so much uncertainty to face right now. And while you're told to stay physically distant from people, it is more important than ever to stay close at heart by reaching out, sending a text, picking up the phone. You can also reach out to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, because with all that's going on, it's more important than ever to care for each other.
Here comes Shaquille O'Neal, the greatest big man in NBA history.
It's a show about my life. I'm just trying to be the best dad that I can.
Shaq is the new face of Papa John's.
I'm the first African American on the board.
I'm out here living. Make some noise for DJ Diesel.
I believe I can be anything. I'm not going to stop now.
Shaq Live season finale Thursday at 9 on TNT or anytime on demand in the app.
A look at Chris Webber. 3 of 4 from the field, 7 points. And when Webber signed with the Pistons back in mid-January, it truly was a homecoming. Chris grew up in the Detroit area, attended Detroit Country Day High School, located in Beverly Hills, Michigan. And Chris led Country Day to 3 straight championships, 89 through 91, each of them on the floor here at the Palace. And he says he looks at this as a last chance to win a title, although he feels retirement is still a couple of years away. He's never played in the NBA Finals. He's been in the conference finals. That was once back in 2002 when his Sacramento Kings lost in Game 7 in overtime to the Lakers.
Let's see what Cleveland gets out of this timeout, and let's see if Flip Saunders go to a zone so that they can't run the play. Maybe they just call. But, Steve, I'm with you right now. A little danger time for Cleveland. Detroit's really trying to make a push here going into halftime with a nice lead.
Here's Gibson. Draws the foul. He went at Wallace and felt the contact. So Wallace with his second, and Gibson to the line. He was 12 for 12 at the line in Game 4.
Did this a couple of times in Game 4, showing a lot of poise, a lot of savvy for a rookie player to learn how to use that body to draw contact. He knows that if he goes straight up, Rasheed Wallace blocks that shot.
Well, Mike Brown thought in the first 2 games of this series that his team went away from the shot blockers rather than going into them. That was not the case the other night. Cleveland went to the line 33 times, and you spoke of it. Gibson was 12 of 12, so they are now starting to try to get into the bodies of those shot blockers from Detroit.
35-29 Pistons. How about Chris Webber? Strong first half for Webber. Gibson facing a trap. Pavlovich. And Hughes resets. LeBron James sitting on the bench, getting a rest. Shot clock to 5. Good. Nice move by Drew Good.
That's only their 4th point in the paint. So we've talked about them being jump shooters tonight. Detroit has done the job with their traps. Normally, Cleveland averages 40 points a game in the paint. Tonight, only 4 so far.
Hughes with the steal. That pass telegraphed. Pavlovich. Larry Hughes making that play. First the steal, then the setup for Sasha Pavlovich.
Cleveland withstanding this little surge with LeBron on the bench. They get a couple of easy buckets, and now Flip Saunders is the one who's going to take the timeout.
Welcome back to the Palace of Auburn Hills. With Cleveland being outscored in the 3rd quarter of every game this series, Cavs coach Mike Brown says enough is enough. At halftime, instead of resting comfortably in the locker room, it'll be a furious 16 minutes. Here's what's going to happen. The 2 video coordinators, Bryant Moore and Steve Hexel, have been busy at work. They've been receiving messages from the Cavs bench through assistant Chris Gent. They are putting together a tape. When the 16 minutes of the halftime starts, the coaches will convene here. They will go through the tape. The players will meet in a separate room and have a players-only meeting discussing what they see on the floor. With 8 minutes to go on the clock, the 2 groups will convene. They will go over a pre-game scouting report and game plan. With 4 minutes to go on the clock, they are then ready to take the floor, and they are told to take it with a sense of urgency and a lot of aggression to get ready for the start of the 3rd quarter. Mike Brown trying to change things up. Mark?
Craig with a little skit going here. You know?
Impressive.
I can hear the guys saying, all right, now get out of here.
We're trying to work.
Yes.
He didn't mention the next part. Then Cleveland comes out and misses their first 6 shots, and Detroit takes over.
And Mike Brown runs out of timeouts and trying to get him in sync.
Hey, you're ruining the vignette here. Cavaliers with a 12-5 run the last 3 minutes since LeBron James made his return. Shot clock to 5, and here's James, tips it home. LeBron on the follow. He has 13 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block.
And that was on the dribble against Lindsey Hunter. Maybe the best defensive player in the league in terms of containing the dribble. Went right around him.
Wallace bothered by Ilgauskas on that shot attempt. Pistons have led by as many as 8. And the Cavaliers have taken a 3-point lead. Blocking foul charged to Hughes. That'll put Billups at the line. Foul on Hughes, his 3rd. And coming up on the T-Mobile halftime report, Ernie checking his watch, realizing that he's moments away. You see, he'll be working with that particular studio crew. Kenny Smith looking perplexed. Ernie, Charles, Kenny, and Reggie will have a look back at tonight's Game 5 between
I think
the Cavs
those
and Pistons.
young kids are more coachable than the crew that he works with.
I believe I saw some dissension. Kenny looked very upset. It's T-Mobile halftime report. 1:33 to go in this first half. Phillips now 2 of 4 at the line. Chauncey Phillips suffered an aggravated muscle in his thigh at the end of Game 4, but the Pistons say he is all right. Detroit with him 1. Mike Brown going with Gibson at the point. Rookie out of Texas has been a major surprise in this Eastern Conference Final Series. Here's James. Crowd looking for a foul. They wanted a charge as Davis went down. And Hunter pulling it back. Phillips looking to post on Gibson. And Phillips able to hit off the double pump.
He's in a nice rhythm tonight. You don't have that frenetic play that Steve talked about that we saw in Game 4, even though he scored 18. In a much better rhythm. 4 of 6 from the field, 4 of 6 from line. He has 13 points, taking care of the ball and running his team's offense.
Al Davis now defending on LeBron James. Gibson had it slapped away and fouled. Hit on a reach-in by Phillips. That's the first on Chauncey.
How about Gibson goes to the line 12 times the other night. He's going to go at least 6 times now here in the first half. Not a guy who you think of in terms of somebody who's going to get to the free throw line an awful lot. More of a spot-up shooter.
Only 38 free throws in 60 games during the regular season for Daniel Boobie Gibson. Says as a youngster growing up in Houston, his mom gave him the nickname because he was a little bit, he said, on the soft side. He said, when I was a little kid, I liked to play with a lot of the big guys, and I used to get beat up a lot. I'd always come home crying, and she called them Crybaby and Boobie. Said it all kind of ran together. Very self-effacing to relate the story.
Yeah, and I'm sure Boobie's saying too much information, Bob.
Yeah, exactly.
Cavaliers back to a 1-point lead. Hunter with the pass, and the foul is called. Axial took it to the rim, and he'll head back to the line.
Well, it's been a tough go for Detroit in terms of getting off to good starts. And Doug, you talked about this in our open. Can they put a little pressure on Cleveland? Well, they did. They got off to the nice early lead here, playing very well. But they look up at the scoreboard, they find themselves down a point. And look at the score, 51-50. I mean, this is an explosion for these two teams.
That foul called on Scott Pollard, who checked in just a moment ago, making his first appearance in this series. How about Maxiel hitting his free throws? He is now 4 of 5 at the line. Scott Pollard, a one-time Detroit Piston. Little cameo for Scott, originally a first-round pick of Detroit back in 1997.
Who drafted him?
I was getting to that. That was Doug Collins, who part of the selection process. Scott played 5 years with Sacramento, 3 with Indiana, signed as a free agent by Cleveland, and was on the floor for a couple of seconds. We're final seconds, first half. LeBron trying to shake off Hunter. And time runs out in the first half.
I have have a structured settlement, but I need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
I have an annuity, but I need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. 877 cash now.
They help thousands, they'll help you too. One lump sum of cash they will pay to you. If you get long-term payments, but you need cash now.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
877 cash now.
877 cash now.
877 cash now.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. Call now.
Got me hot.
If only there was a place nearby you could get one of these. Or these. Good thing they're sold literally everywhere business is done. I'm pretty sure you could buy them at a bank. Not sorry, Reese's.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Attention! The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services has officially authorized new benefits that Medicare Advantage plans may include. To get the benefits you deserve, you can call the Medicare Coverage Helpline.
Hi, I'm Joe Namath. If you're on Medicare, this is important information. I called the Medicare Coverage Helpline and they instantly looked up my coverage. In this one simple call, they offered to enroll me in a plan that includes rides to medical appointments, private home aides, doctors and nurses' visits by telephone, and even home-delivered meals. The plan also includes dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage, all at no additional cost.
Don't delay. Call to see if the new benefits are available in your area.
Call the number on your screen now. It's free.
Call 1-800-329-8500. That's 1-800-329-8500 now.
These are the kind of games that superstars take over on the road. And again, I'm going to get back to the Detroit Pistons in games 1 and 2. Rasheed Wallace was so good in the fourth quarters. They need him now. He was 3 for 4 in the first quarter, 8 points since then. 0 for 3, he's not scored.
And remember, these two teams met in the Eastern Conference semifinals last year. Detroit won in 7. The tip by Varejao. And the Cavaliers have taken a 2-point lead, but in that series, Detroit won the first 2 games easily. Cleveland won the next 3, including Game 5 here at the Palace, and then Detroit pulled it out by winning Games 6 and 7 to take the series. Got clock to 5. Hunter, who just checked back in, got the step. Crowd wanted a goaltend on Varejao.
Well, Mark, to get back to your point, we asked Flip Saunders, is this a better Cavs team this year or last year? He said, no question, this is a better team. They were better in the regular season. They're more solid, more experienced. And he knows his team's in a big fight here.
And how much time can they buy with LeBron James resting right now? Normally we've seen him play the entire second half, and these are the close games. And in games 1 and 2, Detroit found a way to win. In games 3 and 4, Detroit winning going into both fourth quarters. They lost those games, and the team that has won the fourth quarter in every game in the series has won the game.
A minute gone by here in the fourth. Ron James getting a rest. He's on the bench. Here's Hughes attempting a 3, a late whistle. He is fouled by Prince. Bob Delaney made the call on the release, and that'll be 3 free throws for Hughes.
Well, it looked to me like Prince got him on the arm. I mean, he was really crowding him, and this is something that we've seen called a lot more frequently this year than in the past. He gets his hand, looks like he hits him right on the hand on the follow-through. You know, tough to tell, you know, whether it was a foul or not. I always felt as a shooter, if a guy hits your hand, how are you supposed to make the shot? When you hear this hands part of the ball stuff, I don't buy it. I mean, I think that's a foul.
Well, these are big free throws here because, again, LeBron James is resting, and normally he has not had the ability to do this. We've seen him play most every second half all the way through. So if they can keep the lead, even build on the lead where he can come in and finish it.
Here's a 68% free throw shooter during the regular season. And Larry Hughes has given the Cavs more than they expected. He came out, hit the 2 threes early on. Once he got a question mark as to whether he would play. And only 1 of 3 at the line. Hughes has 9 points in 26 minutes, playing with 4 fouls. Cavaliers lead 73-70. They've scored the last 8 points. Wallace making the turn and fouled by Varejao. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Marv, during those 3 free throws by Larry Hughes, LeBron James stood up, started to go in. Mike Brown said, no, hold back, not yet, not yet, not yet. So LeBron biting his tongue and chewing his fingernails over there, waiting to get back into the game.
Well, that's quite a feat.
Yeah.
All at once.
Has to be double jointed, I would think, which is possible with LeBron. Minute and a half gone by on the 4th. Wallace feeling for Varejao, able to beat him off the dribble.
You see the emotion? I mean, that's what they need from him. And the emotion that's not over the edge. The emotion that takes him to that point, but where he can produce and be good for his team.
I think back to what Don Nelson said about the Warriors. You know, after they were eliminated from the playoffs, he says, we have to play with emotion or we're not any good, but we got to find a way to walk that line. Same case with Rasheed Wallace.
There's Gibson. Whoa, banks it home. What a beautiful shot by the rookie from Texas, Daniel Gibson. 11 points for Gibson. 3-point Cavalier lead. Game 6 of this series back in Cleveland on Saturday night of here on TNT. Shot clock to 3. Phillips from downtown, and the long rebound is handled by Ilgauskas.
Well, Cleveland brought the double team. They don't want Wallace to get going. He's made 2 good moves in a row down on the post, so bring the double, be aggressive with it, force somebody else to make a shot.
But the confidence in the rookie rider, he's running this play that normally LeBron runs, and he steps up, he misses the shot, but they are confident having that ball in his hands.
Prince met by Hughes. Phillips guarded by Gibson. Weber spinning his way and hooks it home.
Wow. The mistake Ilgauskas made was he let Weber get back to that right hand. You know Weber doesn't want to finish with his left, doesn't have a left-handed hook, so Ilgauskas slid over too far and allowed Weber to get to the right hand.
Today on NBA TV, it's Hardwood Classics at 4 p.m. Eastern, Game Time at 8 p.m. Eastern, then High Tops, Charles Barkley's Best Plays, and Hardwood Classics podcast on NBA TV.
I've pulled your credit and I've got some bad news. We're gonna pass on that loan.
What? You just said a second ago I was fine.
Oh yeah, that was before we saw all the negative items on there.
Wait, negative items? That doesn't sound right.
You know, it's like they say, bad credit is forever.
That sounds made up. Kind of like these items on my credit.
Well, just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean they don't say it.
They say a lot of things about credit. We say enough is enough. Try something new, starting with a free credit evaluation from creditrepair.com.
Danny and Grammarly are working on her senior thesis. Once she subtracts unnecessary words and adds one necessary citation, it will earn her a degree that will hang right here. Grammarly, helping you connect. Go to Grammarly.com to download.
Hi, Linda. Looks like you've got a prescription to fill. Any idea how much that's going to cost in there?
The exact same drug that's $10 at this pharmacy is $150 at this one. GoodRx finds prices and discount coupons on every prescription. Just input the drug name and instantly find savings at virtually every pharmacy in America.
Next. What can I do for you? Here's my prescription, and I have a coupon from GoodRx. Nice price.
Stop paying too much for your prescriptions with GoodRx.
Pete. Come on, man. What? We said pantyhose, right? Here, eat this. Creamy Snickers. You could use a little smoothness.
Pete? Pete Zacharine?
Get smooth with the fresh ground nut butters and creamy Snickers.
Got me hot.
Noom is made for the real world.
I'm a third-generation candy maker.
It's so sustainable, and I don't have to deprive myself.
I taste candy every day for a living, and if I can lose weight on Noom, so can you. Visit Noom.com and change your life for good.
State Farm is announcing the Good Neighbor Relief Program.
We're returning $2 billion to our auto policyholders through May 31st.
Because now, more than ever, being a good neighbor means everything. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi there, I'm Robin Meade. You are not alone if you're feeling like there's so much uncertainty to face right now. And while you're told to stay physically distant from people, it is more important than ever to stay close at heart by reaching out, sending a text, picking up the phone. You can also reach out to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, because with all that's going on, it's more important than ever to care for each other.
Well, LeBron James' fourth quarters have sort of been a tale of two different cities. You see the two games in Detroit really struggled, only 7 points. Remember game one, the criticism for not taking the last shot. In game two, he did. They thought there was a contact not called. So you can see what his numbers, not the case in games 3 and 4. He took over in both of those games. Tonight, he's sitting on 19 points after the third quarter. He's 1 for 1 here. 5 minutes and 28 seconds to go. He's the best individual player on the floor. Let's see if he has the ability to give his team a 3-2 lead going back to Cleveland.
Well, and he did get the first 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the bench to rest. And you said something during the break, Doug. Cleveland does look fresher right now. They're a little more athletic, obviously, with LeBron, but they look a little bouncier. Detroit, maybe a little tired. I mean, this has been a difficult week for them, losing a couple of games. They lose McDyess. Their big men have had to play a lot of minutes. Wallace has not had his game going, so not much of a bounce to the step with the Detroit Pistons.
And this is 5 straight years they have gone to the conference finals or beyond to the finals, so they've played a lot of games over the last 5 seasons.
Cavaliers now lead at 81-80 as we come up on 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Here's James, turned back by Wallace. Rasheed Wallace on the rejection of LeBron James. Call made away from the ball against the Cavaliers. It is on Pavlovich, and the Cavs are over the limit.
Well, LeBron James takes this ball right into the teeth of the defense, and this is a terrific look like he brought the left wrist as he was coming down, but the good block was called. And remember now, in the first 2 games of this series in Detroit, Rasheed had 9 block shots. He was the back line of that defense, only 3 in the 2 games in Cleveland, so they're going to need him to protect the basket.
Hamilton, 9 for 9 at the line.
That was a blocked wrist right there. I don't even think he touched the ball, so LeBron had every right to complain.
What is impressive about the Pistons here tonight, Chauncey Billups, who's had turnover problems, has not committed a turnover. And Detroit, with just 1 turnover in the second half, none the last 20 minutes of play, and they have taken an 82-81 lead. Just under 5 minutes left in the fourth.
Remember now, Detroit started trapping late in the fourth quarter of game 4.
Tip missed by Varejao, but Pavlovich is on it. Here's Pavlovich going glass. Offensive foul on Pavlovich.
Maybe a little rushed. I mean, this isn't really Pavlovich's game, but watch the off arm. He goes up. Prince so long. You see Pavlovich using that left arm to fend off Prince. Good call by the officials.
Hamilton changed his mind. Wallace not able to put it down. But a foul call. It is on Ilgauskas. That's his fifth.
I like this substitution by Mike Brown, though. He's coming in with Drew Gooden. With Varejao on the floor, you get activity and some offensive rebounding. But with Drew Gooden out there, when LeBron penetrates, you got another spot-up shooter they can throw the ball to, either Pavlovich or Daniel Gibson. You got Ilgauskas that will shoot the open shot. So I think they need another offensive player on the floor right now.
Wallace at the line, a 77% free throw shooter during the regular season. He's hit his two earlier attempts. Game 6 of this Eastern Conference Final will take place back in Cleveland Saturday night. We'll have it for you right here on TNT starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. And if there's a Game 7, that'll be Monday night back at the Palace here in Detroit. And right here on TNT starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. Thursday, June 7th on ABC. It'll be Game 1 of the NBA Finals. The winner between the Cavs and Pistons will take on the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs concluding matters last night in convincing fashion against the Utah Jazz. 6-0 run here by Detroit, all 6 points on free throws. Gibson for 3. Couldn't miss the tip. Handled by Phillips. Hamilton open. Yes. Mike Brown wants to talk it over. The Pistons have taken a 5-point lead.
Usually when you're hearing from me and the General, we're talking about affordable car insurance, and we're having fun. But right now, times are tough. So we hope your family is staying safe at home, because even though we're here to protect your car, our biggest concern is you. Soon enough, we'll be back on the road. Shakalicious. And back to our usual fun. To be or not to be. For 55 years, the Journal has stood by our customer when they've lost their insurance or needed payment flexibility. So if you need help, call us. But most importantly, stay safe.
After 225 years of Jim Beam, you'd think we'd just look back on our past. Nope. We're looking to our future. We're crafting new bourbons, creating new ways to drink them, and teaching a new generation of distillers. So no, we're not raising a glass to the last 225 years. We're raising Jim Beam for 225 years to come.
Hi, I'm Lolly, a Domino's franchisee.
As you can see, we're open and working hard to safely keep putting food on people's tables.
And we could use your help doing that.
If getting some full or part-time work during these tough times could help you,
Domino's is hiring. Head to jobs.domino's.com
and apply today. Because we're not only committed to putting food on people's tables,
we're committed to helping you put food on your table.
Hi there, I'm Robin Meade. You are not alone if you're feeling like there's so much uncertainty to face right now. And while you're told to stay physically distant from people, it is more important than ever to stay close at heart by reaching out, sending a text, picking up the phone. You can also reach out to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, because with all that's going on, it's more important than ever to care for each other.
The Chicago Bulls have confirmed that Michael Jordan will announce his retirement.
I told Phil, I said, look, you know, I'm about here. I was done. I have no motivation.
This is a bittersweet day.
The word retire means you can do anything you want.
It was his father's dream that he'd be a baseball player.
That season Phil did his best coaching.
Scottie has stepped out of the shadow of a great figure.
Will the basketball great return to the Bulls?
While we don't have live games, NBA League Pass is giving you the greatest games ever for free. The only way to watch archived and on-demand NBA content is with the NBA League Pass free preview, available now.
Here in Game 5, yet another dramatic finish. As we flash back, remember Game 1 of this series here at the Palace. Final seconds, Cavaliers down by 2. LeBron on the drive, gave it up. Danielle Marshall, potential game winner from downtown, did not drop. Pistons won it. Game 2, closing seconds. Cavs down by 1. Here's LeBron on the drive. He missed. Larry Hughes with the open angle jumper. And Marshall had a shot at a tip, but the Pistons hang on and win it 79-76.
Now, Marv, how about the ramifications of that three of Billups? If he misses it, look at the shot clock there. They would have had to foul. The clock would have been turned off. They would have been down 1 and had to foul. What a big shot.
Now Lindsey Hunter in the ball game to guard LeBron James.
Down to 15 seconds. Down to 10. James with the step. And the game is tied at 91 with 9.5 to go in the fourth quarter, and the Pistons take a timeout.
LeBron James said that should have been an and one. He thought he got chested on that play, but you got to give LeBron James, I mean, a lot of credit. He misses 2 free throws, Steve. You wondered if he was going to go back to the basket. He goes back with a vengeance, back-to-back slam dunks.
And 4 guards on the floor for Detroit because Hunter came into the game for defensive purposes, but that left 1 fewer big men on the floor. And this was 2 possessions ago after the Maxiel switch, and that's why Foot Saunders decided to get Maxiel out of there. He felt like if there was going to be a switch, he wanted a guard on LeBron rather than a big man. But then what happens? Once he gets into the lane, no shot blocking there, and LeBron has his way.
30 points for LeBron James, 11 of the 30 here in the fourth quarter. The last 6 minutes of this fourth quarter, the Cavaliers with only 5 field goals, all 5 by LeBron.
Well, he said, get me to the fourth quarter with a chance to win, and I will win the game. We'll see. Game tied here. Can Detroit find a way to win this at the end?
9 and 5/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter.
Come back to tank.
Down to 3. Down to 2. Here's Phillips for the win. And we head to overtime.
Whoa, that ball missed by about an inch or 2. And that was down, and it just rimmed out. This crowd was waiting to explode.
Cavaliers ended regulation on a 10-3 run to lead to this OT. And the Cavaliers control. The snow remains on the floor, along with Ilgauskas, Pavlovich, Marshall, and James. Here's LeBron, and he was fouled. Pistons claim he was not in the act of shooting, but Bennett Salvatore with the indication that it was a shot attempt.
Remember that good rest that LeBron got to start the fourth quarter? He's got very fresh legs right now. We're seeing a very bouncy guy getting to the lane. Looks like he's going to go to the line and shoot 2 here. Let's see if he can rediscover that free throw shooting touch.
And you wonder if that call wasn't a result of maybe LeBron complaining at the end, but hey, I got bumped. That should have been an and one on the game-tying shot with 9 seconds left. You know, that's, you plant that seed in the official's mind, and you know, you might get the next one.
Steve, with experience of working the officials.
Not that I ever went to the line, but I saw other people do it.
Foul was on Prince, his 4th, and this time LeBron hits on both, so the Cavaliers now lead at 93-91. 5-minute overtime session. Marv Albert with Doug Collins, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager. We're at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Wallace draws the foul and then lands on one of the photographers along the baseline. Foul is called on Gooden. That is his 5th, so 5 apiece on Gooden and Ilgauskas for Detroit. 5 on Weber, 5 on Hamilton.
So you really need Ilgauskas out there if you're going to have Eric Snow, because if Ilgauskas fouls out, you lose an offensive player, and you have to come in with Verjao. Now you've got 2 guys out there that Detroit can sort of play off of. The only thing you would worry about with Verjao is getting to the offensive boards.
Correction, 4 on Hamilton. Let's see the foul rundown. Time apiece on Ilgauskas, Gibson, and Good.
I think now would be a good time for Flip Saunders to go back to that zone that has bothered Cleveland late in ball games earlier in this series. LeBron really has it going now. You've got Chris Webber on the floor, so Cleveland can put Webber in a screen and roll on the perimeter. And LeBron's rolling. He's getting to the basket. I think you got to change your defenses. That's your strength anyway if you're Detroit.
And you've got one less shooter out on the floor instead of Daniel Gibson. You've got Eric Snow for defense.
6 of 6 at the line, and the game is tied at 93. Good comes out to set the screen. Pavlovich. And he's called for an offensive foul. He actually had nowhere to go. He was hoping to draw a foul.
Very good move, though, by Flip Saunders to go back to this defense. Now you're going to make other guys make plays, because with LeBron at the top of the floor, they're trapping him. And there's the play he calls him running over, so Detroit once again with the basketball and the chance to take the lead.
Wallace. And Pavlovich and Prince came together. Loose ball foul is called on Pavlovich. Non-shooting foul.
I think that may have been LeBron James. Yeah, the call was on LeBron. As Prince went up for that rebound, LeBron just got a little push on him just to knock him off balance.
It is the second on James. Here's Hamilton. Yes. 24 points for Rip Hamilton. Pistons lead 95-93. Here's James off the pass from Ilgauskas.
They took him off the ball at that time, and a nice play to put Eric Snow at the top, and a little give and go that time. LeBron James with a beautiful cut.
34 for James. He scored 15 of the last 16 points for Cleveland. Wallace got the step and drew the foul.
Well, Doug, you talked about taking LeBron off the ball, because sometimes the defense focuses so much on him that when he has the ball, it's easier to contain him. You take him off the ball, run him back door, all of a sudden there's not nearly as much attention paid to him. Beautiful pass from Ilgauskas. I like that. I'd like to see Cleveland do more of that.
Foul committed by Drew Gooden. That is number 6. So he has fouled out. 7 points, 6 rebounds for Gooden. Now Daniel Gibson checks back in, as does Anderson Varejao.
So it's sort of interesting when you bring Varejao in, you take Snow out, because I think Mike Brown recognizes you got to have somebody out there that can shoot the ball. You don't want to have 2 guys that Detroit does not have to guard.
Wallace with his first miss after hitting for 6 at the line. Pistons by 1. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. The series tied at 2. Game 6 back in Cleveland on Saturday night. And right here on TNT, 3 minutes to go in overtime. James met by the double. Shot clock to 5. Here's LeBron, and he is fouled.
LeBron's got to be very careful. No extracurricular activity. Remember, he's already picked up 1 technical. He's got to keep his cool. He and Rip Hamilton sort of bumped one another there at the end of this play. Watch LeBron now as he goes up strong. He's fouled. And watch at the end of the play here. Got to be very, very careful. Keep your cool now.
That was number 4 on Wallace. Game 7 of 10 at the line. Game is tied at 96. And And Mike Brown doing some shuffling. Ilgauskas makes his return. So 16 of the last 17 Cleveland points scored by LeBron James.
Marv, you grew up with this, a little Red Holzman offensive defensive substitution here, so you should be well aware of this.
I'm looking for Mike Ridd to come out and give a foul. Just under 3 left in overtime. Wallace on the low block. Weber looks to save it and does. Another possession for the Pistons. Wallace for 3. Rebounded by Ilgauskas. Coming up on 2 minutes left in overtime.
You got your defensive players on the floor now, Varejao and Snow, so not nearly as much shooting.
Shot clock to 6. James. Wallace rebound.
See, that's why he had to settle for that shot. Detroit 5 players in the lane. They didn't have to bother to guard Snow or Varejao.
Keep moving it out.
Prince met by Snow. They clear it out. Shot clock to 5. Prince. Phillips with the tip. And Pavlovich protects the rebound. Cavaliers take a timeout.
That's to get his offensive players on the court. Minute 37 to go. It's a big possession. You get a score, you get a chance to take the lead.
Axial jumping out. And LeBron tried that pass off the dribble for Varejao was cutting. And fortunately for the Cavaliers, it was deflected out of bounds by Detroit.
I personally would not have had the guts to throw that pass.
High-risk pass.
11 on the shot clock, and Gibson could not find anybody, so takes a timeout.
I never like my point guard throwing the ball in. He's too small to see over Tayshaun Prince. The most important thing in that situation is getting the ball in. Now you have to burn another timeout that is so precious. I like a guy with size that can make decisions throwing that ball in under pressure.
Now they only have 1 left, which could come into play, but you're right, tough to see over Tayshaun Prince, even if you're 6'6" or 6'7", but for Gibson about 6'2".
People don't realize one of the biggest things on throwing the ball in under pressure is having a guy that can read that defense, see over it, and have the composure, you know, to know when that's to take that timeout. So let's see who throws the ball in on this possession. I would have to think it would be a bigger player.
And as you mentioned, Steve, Cavaliers down to 1 timeout. It's a 20. Detroit has a full and 2 20s. And now it'll be Pavlovich on the inbound. 11 on the shot clock. Gets it into Varejao. Phillips went down, and Flip Saunders looking for a pushing foul on James. Here's LeBron flipping it up and draws the foul. Pistons wanted a charge. Instead, James, who was shaken up and had nowhere to go with a couple of Pistons in front of him, but he'll head to the line for 2.
I love the fact that he's showing no fear in attacking the rim despite his free throw troubles, despite some of the criticism he's received in the past. You've got to continue to attack, put the pressure on the defense, even if you miss the free throws. I mean, you're still in good shape in this game, but you got to keep putting pressure on that Piston D.
Because you see in the 4th quarter and overtime, Cleveland 5 of 13 from the line, Detroit 11 of 12. This is the play right there that they wanted to push off. No call in that situation, and then you drive the ball to the basket. Put the onus on the referees to make the call. That's the essence of plays at the end of the game. Referees love when you shoot jump shots, so they don't have to be in peril then of blowing the whistle.
LeBron is now 9 for 13 at the line, and the Cavaliers have a 1-point lead.
And the key here is, rather than getting a bucket and being in transition, they go to the foul line. So now Mike Brown makes his defensive substitutions, and Cleveland in pretty good shape at the other end of the floor.
James hits both. 98-96 Cleveland with 1:15 left in overtime. Hamilton, played by Pavlovich, tried to squeeze his way and then flipped it to Prince. Prince guarded by James. LeBron did a good job, and the pass ends up in the backcourt. It's a violation. Tayshaun Prince under pressure from the defensive play of LeBron James and turned it over.
And the worst thing that happens to Detroit is now you bring your best offensive players. So the last two possessions have worked beautifully for Cleveland. You see that LeBron James does a nice job of bodying out Tayshaun Prince, and Eric Snow plays the passing lane. Bad pass.
I think that's been a huge theme of this series, Doug. Just the post defense of the perimeter players for Cleveland. Tayshaun Prince has not been able to get the same advantage that he had in that Chicago series and earlier against Orlando.
Down to 50 seconds left in overtime. Cleveland in possession, and they're up by 2. Here's the pick set by Varejao. Shot clock to 5. James has to fire and scores!
Oh my!
What a shot by LeBron James, off balance, shot clock running down. He had no angle, and he drilled it.
This has been some kind of performance by this young guy. All the criticism that this young guy took in the first 2 games, the last 3 games, in the fourth quarter, he has been spectacular. Still a lot of time to go, a 4-point game, but LeBron James, a superstar growing up in the playoffs.
Are you stuck with a low credit score causing you to be denied credit? Then do what Terrence did and go to creditrepair.com.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back.
Knowing that somebody's working for me and fixing my credit and allowing me to still be free to do what I need to do is actually a time saver.
Don't wait. Visit creditrepair.com to see how you can get started with a free credit evaluation and game plan.
I know for every pizza I deliver, that's a trip that family doesn't have to take out of their house. It relieves some stress off of me to let me know that I'm doing something good for the community, not just Papa John's.
Hi there, I'm Robin Meade. You are not alone if you're feeling like there's so much uncertainty to face right now. And while you're told to stay physically distant from people, it is more important than ever to stay close at heart by reaching out, sending a text, picking up the phone. You can also reach out to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, because with all that's going on, it's more important than ever to care for each other.
After 225 years of Jim Beam, you'd think we'd just look back on our past. Nope. We're looking to our future, where we're crafting new bourbons, creating new ways to drink them, and teaching a new generation of distillers. So no, we're not raising a glass to the last 225 years. We're raising Jim Beam for 225 years to come.
Today on NBA TV, it's Hardwood Classics at 4 p.m. Eastern, Game Time at 8 p.m. Eastern, then High Tops, Charles Barkley's Best Plays, and Hardwood Classics podcast on NBA TV.
Cavaliers 1 timeout left. Pistons have 2. LeBron James, 39 points in all. He has scored the last 16 for Cleveland. 20 of his 39 in the fourth quarter and overtime. He scored 20 of the Cavs' last 21 points. Still lots of time left. 33.7 as you see that last shot by James to give Cleveland a 4-point lead. Still time left, but this has to be considered one of the great postseason performances of all time.
Eerily similar to the game they won here in regulation. They scored 101 points. LeBron had 41 in that game, and they came from behind by 9 in the fourth quarter to win.
Wallace draws the foul. It is on Varejao, so Rashid will shoot 2.
Well, that's important because he got the shot off with about a 6-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. So if he can make a couple here, Detroit does not have to foul. They can go back and make a stop and then set up a either game-tying or game-winning shot, perhaps.
Cavaliers are over the limit. Next foul by the Pistons will put them over.
How quiet is in here right now. These Pistons fans, knowing that if Detroit loses tonight, they might not see this team again this year. Now, I know they were in this position last year and they won and it went and won game 6, but very quiet here at the Palace.
Game 6 in Cleveland. Saturday night, 8 o'clock start, Eastern time, right here on TNT. Wallace hits both. The Cleveland lead is 2, and a timeout is called by the Cavs. And that is their final timeout.
I would not have used that timeout. What happens now if you get trapped or something goes, or what happens if Detroit scores, there's 2 or 3 seconds to go in the game, you can't move the ball. You're coming out of a timeout here. You should be able to relay to your team what you want to have to happen. That timeout should be an emergency for you. You don't need it right there.
Well, and with the 2 free throws from Rasheed Wallace, you had a good 30, 45 seconds of time to tell your guards what you want to happen here, how you want to approach this. But I agree. I mean, if Detroit ties this game, at the end, you needed that timeout to advance the ball.
And we saw here both games, 1 and 2, they ran out of timeouts and could not move the ball late.
Six-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock with 30 seconds remaining in overtime. Cleveland with a 2-point lead.
Expect this half-court trap.
Using the clock. Down to 5 on the 24. Here's LeBron to the fadeaway. This one comes up short and carries out of bounds. So the Pistons get it back with 6 and 6/10 seconds to go in OT, and Detroit calls for time.
Well, Cleveland never had anything going in this possession. They just wanted to run the shot clock down and get the ball to LeBron. And in this case, you can always talk about, hey, attack the rim. Easier said than done, but that shot wasn't even close. You get conservative in these situations, and it can come back to haunt you. Plenty of time now for Detroit to come up with a game-tying or game-winning shot. We're talking about a very young team here in Cleveland, and I don't think they handled that last possession very well, or the timeout for that matter.
Pistons with Wallace, Prince, Weber up front, Phillips, and Hamilton at the guards. Phillips with an opportunity to win it at the end of regulation, but not able to hit on his jumper. 6.6 to go. Here is Phillips moving on snow and hit on a reach-in.
And see, Marv, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If Phillips makes both of these free throws, they can't advance the ball. There's 3 seconds to go.
Well, good move by Phillips. Snow doesn't want to give up the 3, so he's going to play him tight. A little crossover, and then the reach-in from LeBron. A couple of pressure free throws coming up for Chauncey Billups.
He's only 4 of 7 at the line. but an outstanding free throw shooter. 88% for the season. It's a 1-point Cavalier lead. 3.1 remaining in overtime.
Now, does LeBron try the same trick that Rip Hamilton tried on him and that he tried on Arenas? No, so far, nobody getting in Billups' face.
I would think, coming off what did take place, there's always the danger, although it's unlikely it would be called, but it could be a technical foul. The game is tied. Marshall looks to inbound. And here is Snow from center court. We go to a second overtime.
That's just mismanaging timeouts. And I'm not saying they would have scored, but at least they would have had an opportunity.
They would have been able to call for time and advance it to the front court. Instead, double overtime coming up.
Right now, the coronavirus is affecting all of us, but for communities of color, the impact is especially devastating. That's why the NBA is partnering with the National Urban League to help inform and empower communities of color. This is a time for all of us to help all of us, and the more we understand the issues, the more we will be able to solve them. Now, more than ever, we need to be in this together. Be safe, be informed, and get engaged. Visit NUL.org.
The King is calling to tell us about the 3-for-3 deal.
I get a double cheeseburger.
Fries?
I get a drink.
For only $3?
That sounds like a win-win-win situation.
Good times are calling with a 3-for-3. Order it on the BK app. Your way, way better.
A new kind of investor is changing things up. With an app that's changing the way we do money. Download Robinhood now.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments. I was just overwhelmed at what to do. They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, property I had, my home, my car. When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3. It was just easy. I owed $15,000. I only had to pay $3,500, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything. If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Wouldn't you also like to put your tax problems behind you? Optima has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results. But don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for your free consultation.
For your free consultation, call 800-959-1878. 800-959-1878. That's 800-959-1878.
Optima Tax Relief.
Hi there, I'm Robin Meade. You are not alone if you're feeling like there's so much uncertainty to face right now. And while you're told to stay physically distant from people, it is more important than ever to stay close at heart by reaching out, sending a text, picking up the phone. You can also reach out to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, because with all that's going on, it's more important than ever to care for each other.
My son needs this drug. I hope it doesn't cost too much. I hope my insurance pays for it. Can you tell me how much this will be?
67.
Sorry.
Wait, have you heard about GoodRx? GoodRx finds free coupons to help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions.
Wow. I had no idea.
GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions.
It's a show about my life. I don't care who it is when it comes to competition. Kids, babies, I never lose.
Oh, you know Michael Jordan?
Yes, I'm better than Michael Jordan.
Shaq Life season finale Thursday at 9 on TNT.
Back in Detroit, heading to double overtime after Chauncey Billups hit 2 pressure free throws. And on the play, Cleveland did not have a timeout remaining, so they weren't going to be able to advance the ball. Watch what Tayshaun Prince does. LeBron tries a little spin move, and Prince stays right with him. That forces the ball into Eric Snow's hands. Cleveland never able to get anything as far as a good look at the hoop. So good job defensively by Prince, but again, it goes back to that, not having that timeout. Remember, they also called one when they couldn't get the ball inbounds underneath the hoop with about a minute to go. So the timeouts really hurt them.
So another 5-minute overtime session. The Cavaliers have never been involved in a double overtime game in their playoff history. And Detroit lost to the Nets in triple overtime several years back.
That was a game Chauncey Billups hit like a three-quarter court shot to send it in to the overtimes. That was the Brian Scalabrine game in New Jersey. They went on to win Game 6 in New Jersey, and they came back and won Game 7.
Cavaliers with the first possession of this second overtime. And as James makes his move, foul is called. LeBron in a discussion with Ron Garrettson. If it's Hamilton, it's number 5, and it is.
It's been a long time since anybody but LeBron James has taken a shot for Cleveland. So, next time they touch the ball, there's going to be under pressure for somebody to be able to knock a shot down.
Prince defending on James. Goes to the step back and hits. That's 41 points for LeBron James, and he has scored 22 of the Cavaliers' last 23, including the last 18. Billups fouled by Gibson. So Billups on the drive was blocked. Gibson is fouled out.
Well, we're seeing LeBron do it every which way. We saw the dunks, the free throws. Now he's got the fadeaway going. He's got the complete repertoire working in his favor. Now how do you defend him?
Well, Daniel Gibson is just fouled out of the game, so Eric Snow will be in. So there'll be no substitutions now, offense, defense. Looks like Eric Snow's going to have to go all the way now. Play both ends of the floor, so you lose a shooter out there now for Cleveland.
And maybe you go back to that half-court trap or that 3-2 zone if you're Flip Saunders.
Gibson leads with 11 points. So he and Gooden have fouled out. Hamilton with the pass inside, and Varejao comes away with it. Cavaliers 102, the Pistons 100. A minute gone by in the second overtime. Pavlovich takes the shot blocked by Hamilton. Here's Pavlovich. Phillips with a 3-on-2 to Hamilton. The tip by Weber. The game is tied. Minute and a half gone by in the second overtime. They double up on James. Shot clock to 2-1. Pavlovich. Weber on the rebound, and he's fouled by Varejao.
Doug, you made a great point. I mean, it's been so long since anybody made a shot for Cleveland other than LeBron that it may come down to this. I mean, somebody's going to have to do something offensively because, especially with Gibson on the bench, you're going to see everybody for Detroit running to LeBron, and you see what happens in transition after the block shot. So this is not a matchup Cleveland's thrilled about.
And Damon Jones is in the game, maybe to make a shot, so you lose Snow's defense. Let's see if Hamilton goes at Damon Jones.
He does, and scores.
Now you're in a bind because you need a shooter out on the floor. Daniel Gibson's a pretty good defender. He's out of the game. Snow's a good defender. They won't guard him.
Pistons 104, Cavaliers 102. Pavlovich. Wallace with the rebound.
Whoever Damon Jones guards, I'm assuming that's who they're going to go after. Now it's Tayshaun Prince to look to see if he will go after him.
Prince. Oh, he threw it away. Picked off James. bringing it back for the Cavs, who trail by 2. Ilgauskas' pass deflected out of bounds.
It was an important deflection. Jones was going to have a wide open 3 in the corner.
The last time that a Cavalier was able to come up with a field goal, it was Zydrunas Ilgauskas with just under 8 minutes remaining in regulation. LeBron with the last 18 Cleveland points. Again, he faces the trap. Shot clock to 6. Goes behind the back. And the game is tied at 104.
That's too good right there. That was an amazing. I've never seen him make that behind the back dribble, pull up and shoot the ball like that.
And he's making shots going right also, which is not exactly his specialty. Much prefers to go left.
Hamilton. That was contested and deflected out. Last touch by the Cavaliers.
Just behind the back. His left hand hanging in the air, knocking the shot down. Again, we'll go back to that time. He got a little bit of a rest starting the 4th quarter. And if Cleveland wins, it might be that little 3-4 minute segment that he got that has enabled him to have this kind of energy to finish the game. What it's like to be 22 again.
Coming up on 50 minutes of basketball. He has 43 points. He scored the last 20 for the Cavs, 24 of the last 25. Tayshaun Prince has to use a timeout to avoid a 5-second violation.
Well, I wasn't that way at 22. I don't care what you say. I didn't feel anything like that.
A minute 35 left in the second overtime. Cavaliers have lost 2 players on fouls. Drew Gooden, Daniel Gibson. Several guys on both teams in foul trouble. You mentioned earlier, Doug, you thought the Pistons might have been getting tired. They've hung in pretty well.
They sure have. And you think about this, Marv, we're in a situation now where we're playing every other day. So there's not going to be a couple days rest. I mean, it's going to be a travel day tomorrow to Cleveland, although it's a short trip. Play once again. And if there's a game 7, a travel day, and right back at it again. So, I mean, this is going to be this game and possibly 2 other hard-fought games very close.
Are you all right? Steve looks like I think stamina's caught up to him.
I'm working on him. He's going to take a day off tomorrow.
He had the head on the table before. It was so embarrassing.
Just trying to gut it out, Marv. Well, the guy who I think could be most affected by the fatigue is Ilgauskas. Remember, he's had so many foot injuries in his career. He's older. Big men generally don't survive this kind of wear and tear as easily as guards do.
Shot clock is down to 5. Weber backing in. And as Weber makes his move, that counts the foul. He got the call on the continuation. The foul charged to Ilgauskas, and that is his 6th.
This is a big hoop. The clock was winding down. And Chris Webber did the smart thing when he heard the whistle. He just got it up in the air. Let's take a look at this. Never picked up his dribble once again. They said the push. Ilgauskas cannot believe it. And Webber now has a chance to give him a 3-point lead, albeit the fact that he has not shot free throw well. Tonight he is 1 of 3.
But it's been an enormous night for Chris Webber, who's had his difficulties this series. 19 points now on 9 of 13 shooting, along with 7 rebounds.
Well, this is why he came back to Detroit, Marv. It didn't end pretty for him there at the University of Michigan, all the stuff that he went through, and I think he felt like coming back here where he was a high school star. You already talked about him winning 3 straight state championships, that this could be a great way for him to end his career. Well, this maybe be the biggest basket he's had since he played in Sacramento in the playoffs.
1 of 3 at the line. Just under 50% of the line in the playoffs, but able to connect for a 3-point play and a 3-point Detroit lead. Down to a minute 20 left in the second overtime. There's James for 3. Yes! And the game is tied at 107.
This is unbelievable. This is Jordan-esque.
46 points, for LeBron James. He has scored the last 23 for the Cavaliers, 27 of the last 28. A remarkable performance by James. Hamilton. And rebounded by Pavlovich with 50 seconds to play in the second overtime.
Give Damon Jones credit.
And as James makes his move, the foul is called. It's up high. It's a non-shooting foul.
No, LeBron just, I mean, this is ridiculous. Some of these shots he's making, we kept saying after game 3, well, he's not going to keep making those fadeaway threes, but he is. He's got everything going tonight, tying the game. And then at the other end, we've talked an awful lot about Detroit picking on Damon Jones. Jones made a great defensive play there, staying in front of Hamilton and forcing the miss.
Foul on Phillips. They had a foul to give, so the next puts them over the limit. Down to 40 seconds left. Overtime number 2. Tied at 107. Varejao is rejected. Varejao is on the ball and gets it to Marshall. This is waved off, though. It's a 24-second violation. Cavaliers have a full and 2:20. Phillips played by Snow. And directing traffic, Hamilton. Wallace comes up short. He thought he was fouled, and Marshall takes a timeout. They have it with 11.4 to go in this second overtime of the game, tied at 107.
Well, LeBron's going to get the ball at the top of the circle. Detroit's going to double team him. And Doug, you said it during the timeout. I mean, you got to make anybody but LeBron James hit a shot here.
Single coverage with Phillips on James, working it down. 5 seconds, 4, 3. James scores with 2.2 to go. The Cavaliers lead 109-107, and the Pistons call for time.
I'm shocked that someone didn't step in there and make him pass the ball. I mean, he got all the way to the rim and shot a layup. No double team, isolation. No one is stepping up. He just scissors right through him. I know a tremendous play, but somebody's got to step up and make him pass that ball.
48 points for LeBron James. He has scored the last 25 points for Cleveland, 29 of the last 30. He's hit the last 11 Cavalier field goals. This over 16 minutes of play, he has done all this, and I'm talking 29 of the last 30 points, since 6 minutes were left in regulation. And I said it before, this goes down, no matter what happens here. We still have 2.2 to go, as one of the all-time performances in NBA history.
And it's moved up, way up the list since the last time you said it, I guarantee you that.
LeBron's career high is 56. Prince will inbound. Phillips, can he get it off? He does. And the Cavaliers come away with an improbable victory here at the Palace.
Fires, got it! Catch and shoot 3, it's good! Unlimited range. Got me hot. Got me hot. Get too high now, sugar, come on. I might never come down, I might never come down. Let me get down.
Walking into a clothing store is a completely different experience for me now.
It's amazing. I'm learning how the brain works, but not just any brain, but my brain.
It's funny how much smarter I feel like Noom has made me. It's the simple things, but they hit that.
This is not just some temporary kind of fix. It's psychology.
If you change up here, everything will fall into place. Visit Noom.com and change your life for good.
Cheeser, pepperoni cheeser, you know you got what I like.
Little Caesar's new Pepperoni Cheeser with classic pepperoni and a toasted Parmesan and Asiago cheese crust for just $7, plus free delivery through May 7th.
Pizza.
Hi there, I'm Robin Meade. You are not alone if you're feeling like there's so much uncertainty to face right now. And while you're told to stay physically distant from people, it is more important than ever to stay close at heart by reaching out, sending a text, picking up the phone. You can also reach out to NAMI, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, because with all that's going on, it's more important than ever to care for each other.
For over 75 years, people have saved money with Geico. Oh, sorry.
Here we go from the top, and action.
For over 75 years, people have saved money with Gecko.
Cut it.
What did I say? Gecko. I said Gecko. Oh. For over 75 years...
Keep it together.
I'm good. For over 70... What are you doing there? Stop making me laugh.
Geico, saving people money for over 75 years.
Don't look at me.
Attention. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services